A good afternoon to everybody. My name is David Balazic, and thank you very much for almost properly pronouncing my surname. I'm a managing partner, but also a consultant at a company called Consalta. And I must say, that I have to thank to the team from DPA first to bring me to their event again. I was actually here in Riga 2 months ago. This is my fourth visit to Riga in the last 2 or 3 years. And obviously, they were so excited with the session I delivered 2 months ago that they said, what, we don't want to have David, just on a parallel session. We want him to address the whole audience. So he canceled the other speaker. This is actually the reality of what happened. And I'm now speaking, to everybody, which is very cool. Thank you very much, DPA. And also thank you very much for attending the session. In such numbers, it's really great to hear so many interested people into the new trends, what's basically the future, and also what I'm going to speak about, what is actually happening today and what is going to happen tomorrow. So I actually have a few of the slides that are just to kind of show you, a few intro slides, just to show what am I going to speak about today. And this one is actually coming from Microsoft. Now, we don't have the big guy from Microsoft here anymore. He will be probably happy with that. But this is what the biggest guy at Microsoft, what he mentioned, in his message to the employees after he was appointed to the position that he holds today. So basically what he said, what we realized at the company in the last years, that our industry does not respect tradition, it only respects innovation. And this was commonly mentioned today for many times in the previous session, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. And I actually have some of the cases as mentioned before too. So we have Uber, which is actually transforming how transportation industry works. It's amazing. I'm using that service because I'm traveling around the world a lot. And it's just amazing, how simple it is to kind of get the transport. And also how transparent it is, when you get all the reports about the trips you made. They actually, sometimes, if the taxi driver does not take you through the most optimum route, they would actually give money back. And it happened to me for at least 2 times. Then we have Booking.com. Everybody knows Booking.com. They kind of change, how the whole industry works, if you ask me, because, they are basically enabled a lot of simplicity when it comes to booking trips, booking hotels. We have Tesla. It was mentioned today, so I will not spend too much time with that. We have PayPal. Now, what people usually ask when I show this slide, why the hell do you have a hanger there with some nice digits on? So basically, what is this story about? This is actually coming because I know that in Baltics, startups are kind of pushing economy forward. And this is actually coming from a startup from Brazil. So what these guys, what they come up with is actually a way how to connect trends, with the on-site stores. So basically what they are doing, just imagine, you have Zara, a well-known European brand, and they have their Facebook page. And they would, when they kind of launch a new collection, they would publish the pictures of the clothes that they're selling on their Facebook page. And then, of course, there are several people that are liking different pieces of those clothes, and there's some statistics generated from that. Now, these hangers are actually connecting Zara's Facebook page with the store. So it's showing, how many likes a certain piece of cloth got. So it's kind of showing, some people say, what? My taste is not the best, so I want to kind of take whatever people think is nice. Some people might say, what? I don't want to be the same as everybody else. So I probably take the pieces that don't have that many likes. But the point is, that these guys from Brazil, now this is like in an experimenting mode, they brought the price of a hanger to 1.5 euros. This is how much it costs. So how much does it cost them to produce such hangers, and with all basically with the backend that is driving the service. And Zara is now is testing this in Brazil. But it's just showing, that the world around us is really changing. Now, there's one thing missing on this slide, which is about Facebook. Now, Frank before said, are they in a collapse or are they still growing? Because in a way, even Facebook changed our lives. It's not that, it might be more our private lives, but it's now also kind of changing the lives of the businesses. And here I want to show you one video. Can you just bring the video on, please? And hopefully it works. Okay, so basically this is about people that are our consumers of the future.
I feel like it's mostly for like older people, like my grandparents and my parents.
It's more of like when you're older. A lot of people use Facebook. It's not really a kid's thing.
I know my parents use it. I don't think it's as commonly used in our generation because we use other social media apps that are newer, like Instagram.
I think Facebook, I wouldn't say that it's not cool, but I think it's also, I think that like Snapchat and Instagram and Tumblr, they're taking over.
My mom always told me I shouldn't use Facebook because again with Instagram, she knows I'm gonna do something with it, but also it's because it's more her friends there and she thinks if I'm on there maybe that I might send something there that's like cute, but maybe my mom doesn't want to send it because it's like a surprise or something, but.
I think Facebook is very social, but I think it can be very treacherous.
No, I don't have Facebook either. The reason why, I think it's just a lot of drama, and that's how drama starts, is on social media, and then the next day, somebody's trying to fight somebody or there's a problem on a social media site.
I think that it's just another way for hackers to access your personal pictures, and I just don't think that it's necessarily safe.
It's more of a distraction, it's another way, and it's another password I have to remember.
I think Facebook is kind of gonna like die out. Its interest is not gonna be like high anymore.
I think by the time I am old enough that I will have the ability to use it, Facebook will be long back and won't be used anymore at all.
It will probably be like MySpace, where there's still like a couple of people that use it, but it'll just be like, eh.
How old is Facebook? 10 years, 10 and something. And now, I mean, and to use Facebook, you have to be 13 or older. These people were like in this category of becoming users of Facebook, so basically from 9 to 13. So the world is really changing fast. And in a way, you know, like I believe that many of the nice logos that I was showing before about the companies, that this is going to be a past tense in 10 years. Okay, just a quick intro of who we are and what we are doing. We are Cloud Business Enablement Consultancy. We are based in Slovenia, so a similar company to Latvia. You're doing much better when it comes to economy. We are not doing that well, you know. We're not that smart, you know, when it comes to making some good decisions. However, we don't do a lot of business in Slovenia. We primarily travel around the world, and in the last 4 years, we touched more than 700 clients. We managed to do that through more than 140 different types of engagements in 31 countries. We actually do a lot of work in US, also Canada, to some extent also Asia. And we have like a footprint on 5 continents. We primarily, or I would say in the past, we primarily worked with IT providers. So we were actually teaching companies such as DPA on how to sell new stuff, how to promote new stuff, how to make their clients happier with the new stuff. Now the world is changing also for us, so in the last months or year, you know, we do more and more engagements and sessions for the end clients. Now, also a few words about myself. Actually, since November 2014, I have a new title, which is a Chief Client Satisfier. Why is that? Because I believe that this is what I'm supposed to do in my company, being a general manager or managing partner. I actually have a technical background. However, I never worked as a system engineer, so I was not meeting any frogs so far. Or developer or whatever. I always worked in sales, marketing, or business development. Now, my working experience is pretty diverse. I spent some time in the entertainment market, energy market. I also spent 6.5 years with Microsoft, so I know how frustrating it can be when you, as a Microsoft representative, cannot turn the PowerPoint on. It also happened to me for many times. And for the last 4 years, I'm with Consalta. Now, how do I spend my free time? Family, friends, sport, and cloud computing, if you ask my family. So this is very shortly about myself. Why is that? Because I kind of believe that the stuff that you're presenting kind of gets an additional piece of a context if you also present what's your background and where you're from. So what am I going to spend the following 35 minutes on? I won't take 40. It's speaking, very briefly go through the trends. This is something, that was mentioned for many times today, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. I want to quickly show you the pillars of a cloud strategy. This is something, that was introduced to us by a German partner a year ago, and it works really well because it helps you to kind of categorize your IT, and then you kind of try to do a bit of you want to do a bit of prioritization, or you want to kind of see, which areas of your IT could be actually affected, with security, privacy threats, and which are kind of just okay to move into the cloud. The benefits of cloud in today's hybrid world, we will not speak just about cloud because this is not the mainstream today. It's actually one of the realities out there. And then a few good practices and hopefully excitement all the way. I don't have any jokes about frogs anymore, so I'll try to do that differently. So what are the trends? It was mentioned, in Microsoft presentation, also Frank touched slightly that, but there are 4 major trends in IT or in business today. It's about mobility, it's about social, it's about cloud, it's about analytics or big data. Now, why is this important? It's important because, in a way, what most of the vendors, most of the analysts are saying is that those 4 areas of the business are going to drive 100% of IT market growth in 2015. So I'm not speaking about 2025, I'm speaking about 2015. So basically, what IDC is saying that overall, or worldwide IT market is still going to grow overall. Even people are going to buy servers and people are going to buy on-premise software. Of course they will. And in a way, it's going to grow for roughly around 3.8%. However, 100% of that growth is going to come from those 4 areas. How IDC refers to those 4 areas is so-called third platform, just in case you're going to read about that from IDC. Now, this is one way of looking at what's going on with the cloud. Before, it was also mentioned before, I actually believe that what I'm going to present to you today is not that special, because cloud is not that special. Believe it or not, there was a lot of hype from several vendors from around the world that were actually overcomplicated the whole thing. What is really big, if you ask me, is the Internet of Everything. And I won't spend more than 1 slide on that. But basically, there were some numbers also shared by Frank, during the first presentation. What I have here, 2019 estimate, this is from Business Insider, 25 billion of installed devices, which is much more than we have today, of course. $600 billion will be spent on Internet of Everything in the following, more or less, 4.5 years. And the data that is going to be generated, and all of that is going to be powered by different types, and different flavors of clouds around the world. So like it or not, we cannot avoid that. In a way, this is happening, it's more whether we want to kind of join this wave, and not to stay behind, or we want to kind of stay behind. That's more or less the decision we are making today. Now, what might be a bit more interesting is what the end, because IDC is primarily speaking about the market, the market size, the trends. And it's coming more from the industry, it's coming more from the industry angle. What KPMG actually did, they conducted a very nice survey. And they were actually serving, the clients. So basically the companies such as you are. Now, what were the outcomes? Now, first one, this is this is kind of they included stuff from IDC, but what they were saying was, okay, where the biggest innovation is coming from is from the app segment, so applications. Now, the infrastructure and platform, it's not that exciting. It's not going to be that big because this is already kind of a commodity. But where you can really leverage, the power of cloud is when it comes to applications. Now, in Microsoft terminology, stuff you can actually build on top of Azure. Now, this is the slide that is actually showing, what are the top ways businesses are using cloud to drive business transformation. This is what clients were saying, not what Microsoft, IBM, IDC, or whomever of those big authorities saying. So what the clients were saying about cloud. And this survey was conducted in at the end of 2014. Now, first reason is to kind of optimize. So it's to kind of drive the costs down. That's the most important reason, why they actually did it. Better enable mobile workforce. so mobility, how to make all those mobile extensions to whatever your users are using today. The third one was improve alignment with customers. So it's like around CRM, BI, all these nice things that can be used, for the customer interaction or to understand customers better. Better leverage data to provide insight. So there are many things, that are listed here, but this is just the experience, from the first users. What else is this survey saying? Okay, mobility. One big part of that survey was actually dedicated to mobility. And it was proven in this survey, that customers believe that this is one of the main areas they want to follow in the future. How to make their employees more mobile. And I actually have some further slides on that. Now, there were most successful areas of business improvement as a result of whatever they did when it comes to cloud services. Improve business performance, improves levels of service automation, and reduce cost. So the cost was not the number one. Expectation was, the cost was the driver to do it, but at the end, it turned out that the cost is not the driver number one, or the outcome number one. Now, we have to be credible, there are also some challenges. And this is what these users are saying. I don't want to be perceived as somebody that is evangelizing cloud full time. Of course, there are also some challenges, security, privacy. So data loss and privacy risk of intellectual property theft, impact on IT organization. So are people really going to lose their jobs when they implement or when they start with cloud? Okay, I believe we have 400 people here in the room or even more. Do you know anybody that lost a job because somebody in their organization decided to go cloud? Okay, do you know? But I met many customers in the last 2 years, clients, so basically not just providers, but clients, and nobody said that anybody from their organization lost a job. So this is not that, I would say it's not that big. Okay, now the summary of this survey is about what were the clients thinking about cloud 5 years ago when they were saying, okay, it's a security, privacy risk, people are going to lose their jobs, et cetera, et cetera. But now what they're saying, look, cloud became a fact. So it's not that much spending energy or whether to go cloud or not. It's very much about spending energy on how to optimize it, how to optimize the investment, and how to make sure, that we optimize the risk exposure. So this is the second thing, that is the most important task, for, I would say, an IT manager today. Okay, since DPA is also working closely with Microsoft and they're kind of a co-host of this event, I also want to bring this up because I'm not sure whether you're aware of the Article 29, because we are all members of EU Union. And this Article 29 is actually, it's not saying that Microsoft is the safest, and the best option in this world, or that Microsoft has 100% security. What it's saying that the way how Microsoft handles data is well aligned with what European Union or European Commission expects from such vendors. And they're the only ones that got this document, which is very important because when I had the session in Canada, people in Canada were showing that. I would say, why the hell are you showing, this document from European Union in Canada? And I said, you know what? We know that European Union has the strictest regulation when it comes to data management. So if it's good for European Union, then it's good for Canada. That was the logic. So this is something, that is really powerful. At the moment, Microsoft is the only vendor that has that. It might change in the future, but it's just showing, that they are really working hard to make sure that they have this compliance with EU regulation, which can also help you a lot, when you have discussions, with your vendors. Okay, pillars of the cloud strategy. So one thing, that is important to understand, because the most common objection that we are hearing is, we are concerned about security and privacy, because this is the easiest one. If you say that, everybody becomes concerned. And it's kind of a pushback. And it's very hard to say, no, it's not true. It's very hard to manage such objection. Now, the thing is, that when it comes to IT strategy or cloud IT strategy, there are basically, this is at least how we start a discussion with our clients. We said, okay, let's try to categorize the IT that you're managing today. And in a way, we try to kind of simplify things. It's not like, this is not the end result, of course. This is just to start a discussion. So basically, we have three different pillars of the IT strategy. One is around the infrastructure. So this is basically where the basic infrastructure is. The other one is around the platform and the apps. And the third one is around productivity. So basically productivity, these are the things around Office 365 when it comes to Microsoft. It's things, that make people more productive, of course. Platform is around applications, stuff you build on top of your, let me put it this way, like a Windows server, or any other infrastructure or environment that you're using. And then the infrastructure is very much about the raw infrastructure, the servers. So these are like the three main pillars that you have in your company. Now, how to move into the cloud? Now, this is basically based, on some statistics. It's based also on some good practices. But in a way, for productivity, our recommendation is that SaaS it wherever SaaS is possible. Because realistically, let's just take a very simple example, and this is the Office 365. When you have Office 365, if you really do a one-on-one comparison with what you have on-premise, if it's a fair comparison, and this is what everybody claims they did it, if it's a fair comparison, Office 365 always wins. Now, I'm not speaking about politics, I'm just speaking about fair comparison on business benefits. Office 365 always wins. Now, the other option is the platform. So your apps, so your applications that are being basically used in your company to run the business. Now, for new ones, or for the existing ones, I would really think twice before I would migrate into the cloud for the ones that are already in your company. For whatever you're planning that is new, this is something that should be, on the table on default. I'm not saying that cloud is the only option and that you have to go, but a discussion about whether this is going to be in cloud or on-premise should happen by default. And now, infrastructure, this is a bit harder nut. It's a case by case and requires a lot of business justification. To be honest, we worked with the clients that, it was proven, that for them, running virtual machines in the cloud is much more expensive than in their organization. If we go just to the business benefits, let's forgive everything out. So it's case by case. Now, what's the next step of that? In a way, how to basically manage, how to approach the issue. Now, for the productivity, we said, if it's a fair comparison of cloud versus on-premise, Office 365 versus Exchange, SharePoint, whatever on-premise, cloud will always win. Now, of course, a challenge will be in people readiness and change management. So it's not that straightforward. So this is where your IT or business-related effort should be around. Because once again, technology-wise, it's pretty much the same technology as on-premise. Performance-wise, it could be a long debate. Management-wise, it's pretty much the same story on-premise or in cloud. However, once again, it's not that much about the IT and technology when it comes to Office 365. It's very much about people readiness and change management. Okay, platform. Here is where we need to have a discussion about compliance and security, because here is where such discussion is relevant. Here is where our data lies. Now, I would argue that if you're using email today, and if you are exchanging emails with other people around the world, that is probably not any safer, if you have the server as the basically central point in your organization versus having it in the cloud. Because if somebody wants to intercept those emails, he or she can do that much easier, without even entering the data center or your organization. So probably this security question, and privacy question is not that relevant in this case. Now, when it comes to applications, the platform part, yes, because this is where your core data is. This is where your core systems are. And here you need to have basically a long debate. Now, infrastructure I mentioned is a business case. When is it cheaper to do it in cloud? When is it more efficient to do it in cloud? Of course, IT cloud plumbing, what does it mean? Some things have to be connected and integrated, and it requires a certain skill sets that are in most organizations not built yet. Now, how do we usually start? Now, if you start on this part, we say, okay, first we need to identify the reasons and the benefit. It's pure math. It's business modeling, it's basically checking, what's more efficient, what's cheaper, what's more responsive. This is basically when we start a discussion with our clients. Now, this one has to be treated separately. It's not just saying, you know what, we don't want to do cloud in our organization because it's not secure and private enough. It depends, on which area of the business, and it depends for which system. And then it comes to discussion about categorization of data, which data. I mean, if you have a website that is today running on your internal server, and this website is public anyway, it does not make such a difference, if you move that into the cloud. Let's be honest and realistic. So, but when it comes to applications, this is where we need to discuss security, when we need to categorize the data from 1 to 5, which data cannot leave the premises, which data should be managed internally, and then what you usually realize that 2/3 of your data are not something, you should be that much worried about. And then, of course, what's the preference of your organization? Is it monitor or make? You prefer to monitor things, you're okay with outsourcing, even like as a business, you outsource many tasks, you outsource accountancy, or you prefer to do everything internally. Because then it's more or less making it instead of monitoring it. And the last one, when it comes to IT cloud plumbing, it's about understanding the business, the cloud IT basics. Because some new skill sets will be required. It's also clear to know that few seconds or minutes of downtime are actually a feature of cloud. We have to be realistic about that. But in a way, it's like with all the statistics, I believe that these guys that are running those clouds around the world are doing pretty well when it comes to that. Okay, when is the right time to enter? I'll just go very quickly through something that is, it's basically coming back to the roots. Because technology adoption life cycle or crossing the chasm concept has been around, for at least 15 years. But it's actually showing a very good thing. It's like it's showing, how is the market evolving and what are the different types of the buyers, user that are using the new service, the new technology at a certain point in time. So what is this showing? It's actually showing, that basically today, where we are today, the cloud services are primarily used by innovators and early adopters. Because they're the ones that would grab a new technology immediately when it comes out to the market. And what's even more important that these guys, and I'm speaking about you, some of you, these guys, the buying decision is based on the excitement. So basically they like new features, new technologies, they like more or less everything that is cool and new. So this is where the cloud is today. Now, the mainstream market is still on-premise. This is still basically what most of us are doing. We have infrastructure, within the company. And in a way, at this point, when basically market evolves to this point, it becomes a bit of a commodity. So when the mainstream buyer starts buying cloud big time, then it's going to be already, it will become a commodity. Why am I saying that? Because it depends whether you want to be a company that is an innovative company, that wants to be competitive, to basically, competitive in the market, and compete with your competitors' hearts. You want to lead, not follow. Then I would say that it's the last time for you to start thinking about those solutions. And then at the end, we have late markets, or laggards. They more or less buy it because they have to buy it, because everybody else already bought it. Let me just give you a perspective of those two people. So basically, of those groups. People here on your left, this is the type of a people that would, or organizations, let's say it's pretty much the same as people that are willing to spend 2 weeks in a tent to buy a new phone in front. Basically, they're willing to spend 2 weeks in a tent in front of a retail store to buy a new phone. These are the people that want to have everything that is new first in their hands. These are the innovators. Now the laggards are people that are more like, okay, we are going to install Windows 7 when Service Pack 3 will be out. Not before. Why I'm saying that? Because in a way, the business that you're running and the philosophy you have kind of defines when is the right time for you to enter this market. Because if you have a really hard time of coping with a bit of a risk, then don't do it today. Because you're going to suffer all the time and you will not sleep a lot. Now, if you are a company that wants to go after innovation, that really believes in innovation, that not only on a paper and on your website, but you really want to make a difference, you want to differentiate on the market, then you have to do it soon, with all the benefits that this is bringing. Now, 5 essential steps. So this is like a quick summary of what we would propose. First thing you have to do is to evaluate. How are you doing things today? I mean, what are the things that are spending most of your daily time? How could you improve it? That's what you need to do first before you even start discussing cloud or no cloud. Second thing is benefits versus risks. This is where you say, okay, in this case, we are basically touching this type of the data. Okay, can we really do it or not? No, we don't want because the risk exposure is just too high. So it should not be a general no to the cloud. It should be okay, general, it should be no to only this segment of the business. The third one is find a trusted partner. You need to get somebody to provide you with a second opinion. And I believe that in DPA, you have a trusted partner. With the numbers of people that we have in this room, it's obviously that DPA is a trusted partner in this region. So they can actually provide you with their second opinion of what works and what doesn't work. Do a test drive. Nobody says that cloud strategy is about going big. Say, okay, now we are going to move everything into the cloud. It's about a test drive. You start really small. You see how it works, and then you would expand from there if it works for you. And know what you're signing for. There are several, even today, there are several cloud-based offerings out there in the market. The point is, that there are some people that are just reselling it. There are some people that are putting their own stuff on top of what they're reselling. There are some people that are building it from scratch. Why is this important? Because it kind of defines the SLA. There are actually some offerings that I was actually amazed with that are, with the economy of scale Microsoft has that are cheaper to what Microsoft is offering as Office 365. But the stuff is coming, from the data servers, around the world that nobody knows where they are. Nobody knows, how the data is handled, but it's a bit cheaper. So it's not just about the price. It's actually about, that's why I was also showing that document from European Union. And one extra, focus on what you do best. Because nobody can say that we do everything better than the rest, and then find a partner to help you do the rest. This is more or less the approach you should have with the cloud. So don't try to do everything on your own. Reach out, and they can really help you with that. Now, the last part, the benefits of cloud in today's hybrid world. There are several benefits, for different roles within the organization. I will not go through each and every, but you'll see that the benefits are very much about the hybrid reality. Even if you're a CIO, what is the benefit of unified private and public cloud approach? Because I will never suggest or advise or consult any company that they have to go cloud 100%. Today, it's about the right balance between traditional IT and cloud. Cloud is a nice add-on to whatever you're doing, and the rest is still on-premise. Head of infrastructure, IT pro, and CXO. So basically, there are several benefits. I will not go through that because you're going to get the presentation, and I have to kind of finish on time. But just 10 quick ones that are kind of easy discussion points, for you internally within your organization. Flexibility. That's one of the main characteristics of cloud. When your business goes down, you can actually manage that with cloud. When the business goes up, you can manage that easily without any huge inventory cost in a way, or asset cost. Disaster recovery. Cloud services have disaster recovery by default. So in a way, it's something, that's, first of all, with some initial experiences, companies that are using cloud, they had much faster recovery time. And in a way, we can actually learn from those companies. So it helps a lot, with whatever you're doing, to make it even safer in a way, or secure. Now, the third one is automatic software updates. This was a nightmare in the past. I will not spend a lot of time on that because everybody experienced that. So how to basically make sure that our systems are updated, patched properly. Now somebody else is actually making sure that this is happening. The fourth one is CapEx free. This is clear, so it's not, I would say it's not without upfront investment because some investment will need to happen to configure it, to kind of implement it, but it's much lower as it was before. Increased collaboration, this is one of the part of the DNA of cloud, basically enabling collaboration of people. And even this one that's kind of related, I was surprised, with the numbers, but 42% of working adults, they would give up 6% of their salary if they could telecommute. So basically, they could work from home. So this is something, this is really, how to enable our people to be more efficient, because we cannot compete in working hours with the Asia, because our culture is not about working 16 hours per day. So we have to be more efficient when we are doing our work. Better control. like having a centralized place, where we have documents. This was not the case in the past because we were doing many stuff, we were putting many stuff on our desktops, on our computers, and this is in a way something, that, cloud can also help with that. Now, somebody was asking a question about security and privacy before. 800,000 laptops are lost each year at airports alone. So, I will not comment that. Competitiveness. Now, organizations that are using cloud kind of report 2.5 times higher revenue growth or gross profit. So basically, I'm not sure whether it's because they're more innovative and that's why they're using cloud, or is it because they became more innovative because they're using cloud. But that's basically statistics. And of course, in some countries, being green is also an important factor when you speak about IT. Especially in Germany, we realize that people, you need to be green in order to successfully sell there. So this is also one of the factors that cloud computing is bringing into the game. Okay, the last 3 slides. There are basically some examples from different countries from CE. So I intentionally took few from CE that are basically show, that even in our region, many things are possible. And this is coming from Romania, from Civeco. Why I picked this case? Because in this case, they actually manage, even in public sector where they have high requirements or standards about security, privacy, etc., they manage to use cloud for the right reason. The Ministry of Education, at the end of the school year, they kind of face a huge traffic through their website because people have to apply for the next year. And it's a lot of private data because it's name, surname, and so what they did, they just said, okay, we just want to do everything with cloud because, compute power, to support that spike is much cheaper as buying the servers. We said, okay, we have our own data center, but just for the spikes, we are actually going to use some of the cloud computing resources out there to handle the spike that happens at the end of the school year when people submit their applications. How they managed to do that? They kept the database on their site, and they kind of anonymized partially the data that is then being handled, in the data center. So even in private sector with, I would say, pretty high category of data, they managed to do that. The second one is Škoda Auto. The same company has their own, a huge data center, one of the biggest data centers actually in Czech Republic. So where are they using cloud? Not for their core systems. They're actually using that, for all multimedia and stuff they're providing to their future clients. So they have some nice games, some nice animations, some nice rendering pages, where you can play with your Škoda Auto. And this is where they use cloud because they kind of realized it's much cheaper than basically buying some resources in their data center. For their core systems, they still have on-premise. They have their data center, their private cloud. Now the last one is actually not from CE, but it's managed by a person from CE, so I kind of then want to show it here. EasyJet, everybody knows that company. So they what they wanted to do, they said, okay, we want to, it's a low-cost carrier. So they are really strict on the costs. So they said, okay, we want to reduce the resources, basically people behind the counters, and we want to equip them, with the mobile devices. So they have the extension of whatever they're using doing their work through the mobile device. Successfully did that, and they're using it, I would say, on a daily basis. And once again, it was not just moving their core stuff into the cloud. It was just the extension of what they're using as the core stuff. And this is where I said before, do a test drive. Even for Škoda, this was a test drive. Because this is a game for kids to basically build loyalty with their potential clients in the future, but also to kind of involve parents, when the kid is playing a game. Because it's about traffic rules and regulations, the left one. And it's just an extension of what they're already doing. Okay, this is my last slide. Can you afford not moving to the cloud? I would say yes, if you can afford to stay behind. So my last message for today would be, don't be afraid and kiss the frog. This is the last thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Any quick questions at all on the cloud? Please. We've got a couple of minutes. Or you are an amazing client satisfier you have satisfied all of them with the information you've given them
Or
already.
let me ask, any comments about the frog?
Yeah, any IT jokes, please, raise your hands. We announced the IT joke challenge to all of you.
Okay, anyway, I'll be here. I'll stay around,
David's
you know.
going to be here, so if any questions, thank you very much,
Thank you very much.
David. Thank you.